sure that we're providing children with those opportunities virtually. And it's something I think our program does very well. We think about movement, freedom of movement. Children here, like where you guys, I love reading the ages of your children in the chat. And each time I was thinking about all the different types of movement and development that was happening, depending on your child's age range and that development that's happening then. We're also thinking about the context, right? Because it's the context in which each individual child finds themselves. And that will vary based on the kind of support that they need. And I think that's even more heightened in the home, right? Because every home is different, every child is different. And so we're always thinking about that different context. And then teacher guidance, right? Being led by guides, by teachers that understand child development, that fully understand how to meet the needs of each individual child and family. So those are our principles. Let's go into our programs. A quick introduction of the different programs that we offer. This is like our onion, and then I'm going to peel away the layers and we're going to focus on 0 to 2. But we have a virtual program. We do have an elementary program for those of you who have children that are age 6 and above. But in our early years programs, we have 4 to 6, around 2 to 4, and 0 to 2. And for all discussing today's 0 to 2. But of course, if you are interested in learning a bit more about the other programs, you can let us know at the end, and I'm happy to delve into those as well. So we've really kind of figured out a way, how can we support the needs of all children in these early years of their life? These are the main components of the 0 to 2 program, and I will, as we continue into the presentation, break them down in a bit more detail. But what we're really focusing on is how can we create a day, a plan for your child to have offline learning, right? So we have a little bit of introduction to virtual learning, but I know all of you at home with your own child know that they're not necessarily going to sit in front of a screen the way that we do as adults. So we're really thinking of what is that offline learning that we can do for your child, and how can we help set you up with that? And the way that we do that is we set you up with your own parent concierge. I'm going to talk to you about the parent concierge program in the next couple of slides, but that is really your own kind of personal Montessori coach to meet with you on any cadence that works best for your family, to support you and create offline learning and activities and discuss topics that come up with your own individual child. We will also send you physical materials. The magic of Montessori and Dr. Montessori's theory, and she studied a lot, this is a little bit of a side note, but she studied a lot the work of Edwards and Sagan Itard, who recognize the materials that children work with can affect their development. So this is a big part of Montessori, and what are the experiences that we're giving children to ignite the use of their fine and gross motor skills for their psychological development to best support their growth. And so we will set you up with Montessori materials. And I also like to think of this program as an opportunity to grow in our virtual village in a way. We will have twice a week daily parent and child gatherings. These are for 30 minutes every day. On the next slide, I will show you an example of video of one of these gatherings. But this is a nice time as an introduction to virtual. And this is really parent and child, adult and child. We have nannies, we have grandma and grandpa, we have uncle and aunt. It can be with any adult, but we like for it to be a virtual gathering kind of led by an adult, because our Montessori guides who are leading these classes, they will be working with you for what are the things you can be doing with your child to ignite the sound and movement gains. We'll also have 2 times a week parent gatherings. These are also led by one of our Montessori guides, and a great opportunity to delve into, I think, all of the questions and hot topics that we have here as parents and educators with children between the ages of 0 to 2 years. Those are a great way to connect with other family members, troubleshoot, talk about bright spots. Some hot topics are setting up the home, setting up a play space for multiple siblings, toileting, tantrums, independent eating. I think everything that you guys are probably experiencing right now are definitely things that we talk about in those parent and child gatherings. So I want to, on the next slide, show you all a sample of one of our daily virtual parent and child gatherings. Miss Laura at the time was leading them. She is lovely. She also sings beautifully. So I love playing this. So I'll play this for a bit and we can kind of get a feel. And what I want you to focus on is that there are children of what the magic of Montessori is, that we have mixed aged environments. And there are children of all different kind of ages and developmental stages in this video. And there is no child that is just staring at the screen that we do as an adult. They are moving, and that is okay. So I'll press play and we'll watch this for a bit.
For their toys.
Rubbing up and down their body a little bit. It could be a tickly touch. It could be a firmer touch. See what they enjoy. Come along and play with me. Play with me. Play with me. Come along and play with me, my sweet baby. I have everyone's attention. Wow, I can tell that you guys are listening. Parents, you can say their name at the end instead of baby. See if they respond to their name. Let's try it again. Come along and play with me. Play with me. Play with me. Come along and play with me, my sweet baby. Now check in. How do we feel? Are we ready to play? Are we ready to engage? We may not have a lot of expressive language yet at this age, but they understand. And it's important that we're asking questions along the way, carving out little spaces for them to respond. And maybe it's not with words yet, but we're still allowing that time. Are you ready to play? Yes. Well, we're going to do a song next. It's called Open, Shut Them. So it's a very visual song. When we say open, we're going to open our hands, open. And when we say shut them, shut your hands. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Yes. Oh, I see some.
So you can see how fun it is. I almost kept that on for way too long because I really enjoy watching it. But what I really like is that Laura is really also guiding the parents and the other adults in the environment, right? About things that they can be engaging, why we're doing these things with your child, and how we can personalize it, right? Maybe changing a name here, what's going on with language development right now, what's happening with the development of movement right now. And you can see here we have a little infant, right? This is a young baby. We have some, I would say some toddlers here, some confident walkers, a child that's learning to sit independently here. So really children of all different developmental needs in this age range of about 0 to 2 years. So those are the daily virtual gatherings that we offer. Now, as part of the program, we will also send you Montessori materials, as I explained on that first slide. To do this, we have partnered with a company called Monty Kids. Monty Kids is a Montessori subscription company that sends Montessori materials to your home about every 3 months, about every quarter. Each level that they have has about 6 to 8 Montessori materials in it. They're tailored to your child's kind of developmental needs within that age frame. You'll also have access to their online portal, which is super duper helpful. They have all these great resources that share the how, the why. They have videos on how you would present this video to your child. They also have like a 12-week parenting course in there. Just lots of helpful resources that we want you to be able to take advantage of. So you will get a Monty Kids subscription when you sign up for our program. Now, after families get their Monty Kids subscription, we set up for them what we call prepared environment support. And what I mean by this is you will be able to meet with someone, and typically I do these are my favorite things to do with families because setting up the home environment for a child looks different. There's no home that's alike, right? Every home is different, every child has different needs. So it's really working closely with families about what their goal is for their child. What are things that they're seeing their child wants to do independently? How can we troubleshoot through this to best support your individual child? I want to show you all a video of a family that I worked closely with for many, many months before they went back to in-person school. Their child in this video is about 16 months. I'm always hesitant to say ages because every child's different, but it's a nice video to watch. One of their goals was focusing on, they were always kind of butting heads with their child about serving her water, her cup, and getting her water. So we talked about, this tells me a self-serve water station would be a really great idea. How can we set that up within your individual home? This was also a family that was trying to move away from sippy cups and into a cup that allowed a little bit more independence for drinking. And they were eventually going to move into using glass cups, but we're here transitioning with using their sippy cup, taking the top off and still filling it. So we're always kind of scaffolding, adding those modifications as the child and the family find more confidence and independence. So I'll play this video for you because this screams to me what children are capable at such a young age and what the tiniest changes in the environment can do to fully change a child's experience. So you can see that used to be her old cup that doesn't have the top on it anymore. She can pour her own water. And what I love here, she goes and gets another cup to repeat. And the magic of Montessori, so much that we want to, I keep saying the magic, there's many magical things, but so much that we want to allow for is repetition. When children repeat with materials or activities or different lessons, they are building concentration. In that process, is like, as we say for adults, right? Practice makes perfect. And so as children are repeating and repeating, they're solidifying all of those newfound skills and knowledge. So we're always thinking about and working with families on what are the activities that we can set up for where your child is right now in their development that they can repeat and solidify those newfound skills and knowledge and continue to practice. So far we've talked about the virtual component of the program, with the daily gatherings and the parent meetups. We've talked about the Montessori materials, the Monty Kids subscription. We've talked about your prepared environment support and being able to meet with, hopefully it'll be me, being able to meet and talk about the different environment and make changes. Now we're going to talk about the parent concierge. And this, I think, is a very, very cool part about this program, because this is someone that we will set you up with one of our Montessori educators from our team, Montessori Guide. Guide is the word we often use, like I said, that is your personal Montessori coach, your go-to person for everything. Now, this can be used and taken advantage of in however you'd like. There are some families that I meet with on a weekly basis, some that I meet with every 2 weeks, some that only prefer to email, some that want to have a call, some that want to have just a Zoom call, some that want to have random calls. It is based on what works for your family and the things that you want to talk about. I think of this as it can be a 30 to 45-minute session where you're talking about, this is what my child is interested in. This is what we're doing. Hey, we're interested in toileting. Hey, we're interested in feeding. And we are meeting with you. It's like signing up for a Montessori consultant to connect with you and that personalized support. And this is why I feel like this 0 to 2 program is so special, because it's so much kind of parent adult support that can also, of course, then benefit the child. These parent concierge meetings can be, I have had grandparents join, I have had nannies join. It's really for any and all of the adults in the environment who would like to come and learn a little bit more about child development. In one of my calls yesterday with a family, we looked at a timeline of language development and talked about different activities that we could be doing to support their child's development of language at that time. And so we're always kind of sharing new resources and delving in, troubleshooting a thought and being a thought partner, essentially. I also want to share with you all, this was a family that I worked with over the summer who then also transitioned back to in person. But I love this. She writes a blog. She was writing about their child's toileting journey and how it had been a bit challenging in the beginning. And what I like here, and she capitalized it here, I took a screenshot from the blog. She says, thankfully, the parent concierge meeting happened. Game changer. And for her, it was so helpful. And I remember our meetings like vividly. It was so helpful to talk through what are the steps of toilet learning? How can we set this up? What are the ways that we're changing the environment? How are we responding to it? And I use this example because you can see that this family was on their own journey, right? Everybody is doing things at their own rate and their own pace. And we can kind of share with you Montessori principles and ideas and tailor them to meet your family's needs. Now, toileting might not be everybody's topic right now. It could be something else. So whatever it is, we've probably talked about it, and we're always kind of delving into different topics as well. Now, what you'll also do with your parent concierge, if you're interested in, is building a family schedule. This is something that I found really, really helpful when working with families, especially right now with everything going on, right? Because we have busy, busy days. Your family schedule will look different than this family's, right? Because your family is different. But what I think is really helpful to know is that you can talk to someone and figure out, how can we create a schedule at home that allows my child to have moments of opportunities for exploration and for work, that allows us to work, that allows us to do these things. They nap here, they usually eat around this time. And based off of that, we'll work with you to help to get on some kind of schedule that works best for your family. Of course, if this is something that you're interested in having support with. I really liked working with this family because they found it helpful for me to be the one to write which parent was on duty. And I thought that was nice. I was like, I can do that. I'm happy to write it down. So every family is unique in what kind of their needs are for this. What we can also do is build a weekly activity plan for you and your family. I am a very visual person, so I do find that writing these things down. These families have printed them on their fridge and taped it onto their fridge, and so you can kind of have it in front of you, have the resources all around you, and you can see when I talked about repetition. Most of these activities are repeated every day. So the plan is not for you to feel like you have to set up 1,000 new activities every day for your child, which feels stressful and overwhelming, which wouldn't even allow for repetition, but mostly just thinking strategically about what are the things that we're introducing using the materials that we're sending to you at home, as well as other things that you have around your house, like a mason jar, like a coin purse, right? There's all these passive materials that will need to be activated. And that's when the magic kind of happens in learning, when your child activates something. So we can set up these weekly activity plans for you as well. So these are just examples of things that I have done personally with families in the Parent Concierge program. Please know that it's not something that you have to do with yours. Whatever you need, we can figure out how to make it happen. I think that's that personalization is super cool about this program. So lastly, we'll just kind of conclude before we open it up to questions about the program. Our tuition for our early years program for the 0 to 2, 2 to 4, and 4 to 6 programs are $750 a month. And what you receive, a quick recap of the 0 to 2 program, is that Parent Concierge support for personalized support, that prepared environment support for setting up the environment, thinking of that child with the self-serve water station, daily virtual gatherings, right? We saw that video with Miss Laura, parent meetups twice a week, and Montessori materials with the Monty Kids subscription. So I imagine that there might be some lingering questions, so I'm going to stop sharing so we can see each other. So we can open up to questions. Feel free to unmute yourself. I do have two of my colleagues here, Denise and Mona, who, if you do write something in the chat, they can help to let you know as well. But yeah, I'd love to hear from y'all if you feel comfortable asking any questions that you have.